Hello everyone. In a previous class, we have seen the two types of algorithm, that is the gradient descent algorithm, where we are going to choose the minimum error and we are choosing the weights which is having a minimum error, and the next one is stochastic gradient descent algorithm. In a previous class we have been come across. Now let us look at how the stochastic gradient descent algorithm, which depends on the error. So that particular error we can say that is the one way the stochastic gradient descent is to consider the distinct error function, that is ED. We can say it's a D is representing for a particular training example, that is ED of weight vector can be represented as is equal to presented for a particular training example is half of the TD minus OD the whole square. What is this? The TD, as usual, I said in the previous class also, the TD is a output unit, that is the target value, whereas OD is the output value which we have obtained for a particular training example D. In a stochastic gradient descent, where for the each iteration it is not going to consider the overall error present in a complete training example. It will consider the training example of only one individual D in a D, and each of the iteration it tries to calculate the weight value, and weights are going to be updated depending on each of the training example. That is what we are being studied in the stochastic gradient descent algorithm. Now when we look at this stochastic gradient descent algorithm, where it is going to have a reasonable errors are going to be obtained, and another part here is the weights are being updated in a it's not going to update the weight in a larger step, but it updates the weight in a slower manner because it takes more time for the computation of each individual training example. It finds the error present in each individual training example and tries to update the weights for each iteration. Another point we can see here is by using this stochastic gradient descent algorithm, the eta value, that is the learning rate nu, is going to be updated and it updates will be very smaller updates, and it contains only the smaller positive value. That is, in a stochastic gradient descent can be made approximate true gradient descent arbitrarily by choosing a smaller learning rate. That is all about the stochastic gradient algorithm. The next part here is, let us look at the difference between the gradient descent algorithm and the stochastic gradient descent algorithm. As we are looking at this, the first point is going to provide you the difference, the main difference between the gradient descent and the stochastic gradient descent. The gradient descent algorithm is going to sum it up overall training example and tries to find out the error. That is one thing. So, but when it comes to the stochastic, in a stochastic gradient algorithm, where each and every step of training example, it tries to find out the error present in the each of the training example, that is small d, in a data set capital D. That is one thing. Next, summing over all the multiple training example, it requires a computational power is going to be required is more, and it requires a more computation time to calculate or to sum it up overall errors present in a training example, that is in all training example. That is also the main drawback of the gradient descent algorithm. So now and another part here is when it comes to the stochastic gradient descent algorithm, it requires less time for the computation because it is going to perform each and every training example. It tries to find out the error which is present and tries to update the weights in each iteration. But when it comes to the gradient descent algorithm, where this particular algorithm, it tries to find out the overall error present in a training, all the training example, and try to find out the error, and after finding out the error, it tries to find the large step of descent, means there is a large variations in the weights are going to be occurred. So that is a one point we can say, that is the second one. That is the second one, it is said to be like a true gradient descent is often requires a larger step size per weight update than the stochastic gradient descent. Next, the last one here point which we are showing here is, in each and every iteration of a stochastic gradient algorithm, there will be a multiple local minima is going to be generated. So it can choose any of the local minima because for each and every training example, we are supposed to find out the error in a stochastic gradient algorithm. So it does not tries to find out the global minima in a stochastic gradient algorithm, but in a standard gradient descent algorithm, it tries to find out the global minima and it is going to provide a global minimum point, that is a minimum error where we are going to updates the weights. So that is these are the three main difference between the stochastic gradient algorithm and the gradient algorithm. Switch on to the multi-layer neural network. So far we have analyzed the single perceptron, that is a single layer neural network, where single perceptron is going to represent a linear decision surface and it consider the linear inputs and provide you the linear output. That is what will be done by using a single unit called a perceptron. Now let us move on to the next one. Here is multi-layer neural network. So when you consider the multi-layer neural network, we need to learn the we are supposed to learn the algorithm. That algorithm is a backpropagation algorithm, where the backpropagation algorithm is capable of expressing or capable of representing a variety of non-linear decision surface. That is the main importance of multi-layer neural network. When we are constructing a multi-layer neural network, the multi-layer neural network is going to address a non-linear decision surface. When it wants to address a non-linear decision surface, it does not depends on a perceptron or it does not depends on the linear unit, but it has been using the linear unit, and also it tries to compute the nonlinear function in a particular unit. Now let us look at this example. So this example which you are looking at this diagram, this example is easily representing how the nonlinear functional units are going to perform its operation and provide a nonlinear decision surface is going to be represented by this multi-layer neural network. Now consider this example. When you look at this example, see, we are going to come across three types of layers which we are going to come across. That is, one is the input layer, middle one is the hidden layer, and next is the output layer. So, input layer we are going to receive the two inputs are being present. The two inputs are F1 and F2 are the two parameters which is being receiving. The first main thing is, this example is going to show the speech recognition task involving a distinguishing among the 10 vowels, 10 possible vowels. All are spoken in the context of H_D. So, when you look at this, the output, it is going to provide a 10 possible vowels which we have been spoken, and it consider the output of 10 vowels. The 10 vowels are between the letter H and D. So, like for example, HID, HAD, HEAD, HOOD are the outputs which will be provided by considering the two input parameters. When you look at this diagram, you can easily see there are two parameters are present, that is F1 and F2 are the two parameters which is being obtained from the spectral analysis of sound, and this it receives the two inputs F1 and F2. Based on the two inputs, the network is need to predict the output whose value is a value be depending on these two parameters inputs. It's the hidden layer is tries to solve that problem, and tries to provide you the output whose value is a highest. So, the network prediction is depends on the values which is being obtained. Based on these two values, it tries to predict the particular vowel, that is the 10 vowels, and tries to draw that value in a non-linear decision surface. In the next, in the right side of the diagram, where it is being representing, that diagram is representing non-linear decision surface, that is represented by this learned network. Now, the points we are looking at, the many points are present over here. Each of the point is going to be indicating the test examples. So, these test examples are different from the trained examples of a particular network. So, in this diagram, it is recognizing the speech in terms of a 10 possible vowels, it tries to get the output. So, and also when you are looking at this right side of the diagram, the right side of the diagram is indicating the non-linear decision surface in a two-dimensional space. So, we are going to obtain, see, it is representing like head, square point is represented as a edge, HEAD, a star, HID. So, the complete surface where the data points or the decision which has been taken, the non-linear decision has got scattered over the two-dimensional space. So, when you look at this example, you can easily say that the neural network, the unit which is being present is going to represent the non-linear inputs. So, it considers the non-linear inputs and provides the non-linear function as a output. Now, let us look at the next point here is which unit is required to represent the non-linear function. Because in a previous classes, when very first stage we started to study this neural network, we have studied about a single unit called a perceptron, where the perceptron is going to represent a linear unit. It considers the linear inputs and gives the linear output. But by cascading the more number of linear units, obviously we are going to get the linear output. So, to avoid that, we are going to have a non-linear units where that particular unit is represent the non-linear functions, and also it provides the non-linear decision surface on the two-dimensional space. Let us look at which is the unit required to obtain a non-linear function as a output. Now when you look at this unit, that unit itself is going to provide you a differential threshold unit where it's provide a non-linear function as a output. So a perceptron, if you consider a perceptron, that perceptron is capable of providing a linear output function, but the network must be capable of addressing a non-linear function. To perform that operation, along with the perceptron unit, this perceptron unit is not going to provide you a gradient descent. It is not been suitable to obtain the gradient descent in a multi-layer neural network, and along with this it has got its own drawback. That drawback is it discontinuous threshold makes it undifferentiable. We are not going to obtain a output. That output is a differential threshold value. So we are going to receive a undifferentiable output value. And also if you are having a perceptron, it provides only the linear output function. So to overcome this drawback, so we need to have the nonlinear function for the provided inputs in a complete neural network. We are going to depend on another unit. That unit we call it as a sigmoid unit, where the sigmoid unit is going to address for the nonlinear function and provides you a decision surface, nonlinear decision surface in a two-dimensional space. So the sigmoid unit is being utilized along with the perceptron unit. The sigmoid unit is a unit which is going to provide a smoothened, differentiable and a threshold function, that is it provides a non-linear threshold function. Is also just like a perceptron unit. It performs two tasks. The task here is, the first task it is being performing just similar to that of a perceptron. It combines the linear operation, means it tries to combine all the input value and performs the linear operation, and next then apply the sigmoid function. That is what the main thing, main operation which is performed by the sigmoid unit. Now let us look at the sigmoid unit. The sigmoid unit is also just like a perceptron. Now let us look at the diagram of a sigmoid unit. Now let us look at this diagram. This diagram is representing a sigmoid unit. As you have seen the perceptron, it's a single unit where it is to receive the inputs and provides the summation of inputs along with the weights. Here this diagram is representing a unit which has been utilized in a multi-layer neural network to address the non-linear function as a output and to represent the non-linear decision surface. So this diagram is representing a sigmoid unit, where sigmoid unit, this sigmoid unit is going to be based on the smoothened, differentiable threshold function. So it is a unit where it is going to perform the two tasks. The two tasks are, the first one is the sigmoid unit. See this complete unit, it's like a 1 perceptron single unit. This single unit, the first step here is, it's going to provide the linear combinations of input x with respect to weight. It provides the summation. So first computes the linear combination of its inputs, and after having this combination, then it applies the activation function. So then it is going to apply the activation function. So based on this activation function, the result which we are going to obtain here is as a threshold output. So that threshold output is a continuous function of its input. So this is what it going to provide, a non-linear function as a output. So this computation can be seen over here in a mathematical way, how it has been the computation task is performed. So net is equal to summation of I is equal to 0 to n wi into xi, that is represented by O output, where the summation of vector of w and vector of x, that is will be input as a activation function of a sigmoid unit. This activation function is going to perform its operation to provide a output. That output we can see here is the sigmoid function applying on this net, that is sigmoid function is been applied on this part. Next, net is equal to 1 by 1 plus e to the power of minus net, that is net input value. By applying this activation function, we are going to obtain a differentiable threshold as a output. So that is how, this is what the perceptron, this is what the unit which we are been using for a multi-layer neural network. Now let us look at the backpropagation algorithms. So why we are implementing the backpropagation algorithm for this multi-layer neural network? See, one thing you have to remember here is, whenever we are going to come across a multi-layer neural network, so a neural network is being comprising of 3 units, that is 3 layers we can say. The 3 layers are the input layer, next hidden layer, next output layer. When a multi-layer neural network is comprising of these 3 layers, in the hidden layer, we can't expect the single hidden layer. We will be having multiple hidden layers are going to be present. And another thing is, we try to adopt we try to deploy a gradient descent algorithm, so that we are trying to minimize the error which is being obtained from the output, and tries to update the weights so that we can minimize the error by finding out the difference between the target output value and the output value. So that is what we are going to have a backpropagation algorithm. So we can say that the backpropagation algorithm tries to learn how to update the weights for a multi-layer neural network, and gives you a network with a fixed units and interconnections. How many hidden layer units are being required? So those information are going to be provided by the backpropagation algorithm, and also it tries to employs a gradient descent, and it makes the attempt to reduce the error, minimize the squared error between the network output values and the target output values. So that is what the main functionality where we are going to adopt a backpropagation algorithm to this multi-layer neural network. In a backpropagation algorithm, we consider the networks with multiple output units rather than a single output unit. And another thing is, we also consider multiple input units, multiple hidden layers are going to be considered. So by considering all these criteria, we tries to redefine the error to sum the errors over all of the network output. So that can be computed by using the equation, that is error E of multiple weights, that is error of weights, that is equal to half the, we are comprising of all the training example. So summation of D belongs to D. Next, the summation of kth outputs, that is k is the number of output. We can't, in a multi-layer neural network, we can't expect only a single output. We will be having multiple outputs are present. So the k is the one which belongs to this outputs with the difference between the target output of the kth output of a particular training example minus the output obtained by the kth of the D, the whole square. This is what the sum of the errors overall network output units. So this is what the error, how we are going to compute the error in this multi-layer neural network in a backpropagation algorithm. Now in the next class we will continue with the backpropagation algorithm. So we will try to find out how the weights are going to be updated by using the backpropagation algorithm. Okay, fine. In today's class we have completed the sigmoid function. So how the sigmoid function is acting like a unit in a multi-layer neural network. Thank you.